Should be able to hear me loud and clear. Apologies about that technical difficulty at the start. Anyways, guys, welcome back to another live stream. And as I said in the intro, I'm going to quickly repeat myself. Bitcoin did hit that level at 95K, right? We hit that previous swing high, and the daily candle is going to be closing in around 45 minutes. As of right now, it does appear it's going to close in a swing failure pattern where it took the high and closed underneath. Time is yet to tell, right? We'll find out in around 45 minutes when this daily candle closure does come in. But nonetheless, we do have that untapped supply zone just higher at 96K. And then the main target right here is that $99,500 level. So is Bitcoin going to pump or dump, and what about altcoins? That's what we're going to be discussing in this live stream. And also, I want to address the live chat. Thank you all of you guys for letting me know that my mic was not turned on. I do appreciate that. And thank you for everyone tuning in and smashing up the like button. We did have a very nice comment, the first one of today's live stream, from FBS, saying that he finally was able to catch the live stream. And he says, "You're the man, Connor. Call the altcoin bottoms just right." And essentially, I'm glad that, thank you for that comment. It's very nice of you saying that. And I'm glad you get value from the analysis here on the live streams. And, we dig into a lot of charts and go over different scenarios. So I'm glad that you guys were able to, get value from the message I was putting out there. I could have been more bullish at the bottom. I'm not going to pretend like, I was full max risk on, going into everything, buying up all the lows. I bought some, but nonetheless, thank you for your support, FBS. I really appreciate that. Declan Wyatt, Glasshopper77, Crypto Mike, Eric Alexanderson, Knowledge Beyond Stars, all you guys, thank you for all being here. Let's get into the stream. So taking a look at the market overall, again, Bitcoin is at 95K, Ethereum is at $1,800, BNB back up to 600, Solana is at 151, and it's quite interesting. If we look at the Crypto Bubbles Top 100, we are in a sea of green at the current moment in time. We have altcoins really performing well with USDT dominance, looking like it might want to just get right through this low at 5.02% and just come on down here to around 4.5 to 4.6%, which is the next major level for USDT dominance, and also a pretty important pivot low over here at 4.56%. So if this just drops like a rock or a boat anchor, we should expect altcoins to continue their mega violent pumps to the upside, right? Max pain is actually still higher. Today when Bitcoin tapped 95K over here, looking at order flow, it was clear that everyone was trying to short this level. So I did map out a short trade in yesterday's stream, if you guys recall, at 95,500. That got filled and price came back down to like 94. And I just moved that stop to break even because I don't want to get in the way of the freight train. And it did end up getting stopped out at BE break even. So whatever, perfectly fine with that. I mean, it's a dangerous thing to do to try and get in the way of the freight train at the current moment in time. However, with the daily candle about to close here, it does look like we are actually going to get a swing failure pattern. But nonetheless, that would have to line up with USDT dominance actually holding this bottom and putting in a bit of a retracement higher. Like I said, if it wants to go lower, we are going to see some even further pumps, and max pain is to the upside. Everyone, or not everyone, but many traders, they're trying to fade this move. And they're still trying to fade the move. And yeah, max pain is just higher currently. Now, something interesting is taking a look at the the sector performance. This is a free tool called velo.xyz. Very useful. And if we look at the sector performance, it's broken down where our purple line here, this is the meme coin sector, right? Then we have the DeFi sector in orange. We got the layer 2s in light blue. We got the layer 1s in darker blue. And then we have gaming over here in green. So it's pretty clear to see right now that gaming is really outperforming the entirety of the market. Or did I say gaming? I meant meme coins. Meme coins are really outperforming the entirety of the market. Not all capital, but the majority of the capital inflows into altcoins, into risk assets, it's mainly going into meme coins right now in crypto. If we look at the other sectors like layer 2s, layer 1s, DeFi, gaming, even AI right now, AI is over here as well in this purple line. You know, AI is doing well. A few coins are. But it's such a drastic, stark difference we're seeing. The performance of meme coins just continues to steal the show. This is where the demand is, right? This chart tells us where the demand is among active retail market participants. They're all about memes. So with that, we're seeing some interesting things happen, right? The moment the market turns green and prices start to pick up and people become bullish again, we see everyone crawling out from the woodworks, all the previous suspects. So I want to go over this because it's crazy. So here's a tweet from Bubble Maps, and this is from around 12 noon today. So just about 7 hours ago, they put out a detailed Twitter thread about how addresses linked to Hayden Davies, remember Kelsier Ventures and the Trump coin and the Melania coin, as well as the Libra coin. So they're going ahead and launching a coin now called Fries with the same wallet and the same patterns they used to use to deploy all of their other, insider controlled cabal meme coins. So anyways, this is a very detailed post. And as you can see from the comment section, someone says, I guess we're back then, right? Yeah, we're back, right? They're all crawling out from the woodwork. So Hayden and Kelsier, right? One major cabal group back at it. 2 hours ago, we can see that Bonk Inu, the Bonk coin. You guys all know Bonk, right? Huge mega green candle on the day. But Bonk actually launched a pump fund competitor today, and it's called Bonk Fun. So you can see a new tool for launching meme coins built by members of the Bonk community in collaboration with Radium Protocol. All right, Radium Protocol also in collaboration with Pump.Fun, but Pump.Fun tried to take them out of business by launching PumpSwap, which is just another DEX on Solana. So it's really interesting to see these. Like, these are the main teams and the main projects on Solana. Bonk put Solana back on the map after FTX when they airdropped everyone and the coin went up 200x from the bottom. All right, so it's like some kind of politics going on where, okay, Pump Fund says we don't need Radium anymore. We're going to make our own competitive DEX platform so that all the Pump Fund tokens can just trade on that and we get the fees. Now Bonk teams up with Radium and they say, hey, let's build a competitor and let's put Pump Fund out of business. And this is all happening again at a time when everyone's turning bullish again and everyone's hungry for gains and everyone's just, getting greedy again. The greed is really picking up big time right now, which is interesting. And we've had zero pullbacks as well. It's been all gas, no brakes. So anyways, with that, the first coin on the Bonk Pump Fund competitor is called Let's Bonk. And here you have the Bonk guy, Unipick, saying this is the fastest moonshot listing ever after Trump coin, right? So he's pushing this one. And he's a whale in like every major Solana meme coin. So you have to assume he likely bought this one quite early. But, seeing charts like this, right, where the coin was launched at 2:15 p.m. and here we are at 7:25 p.m., 5 hours later, the coin's increased by 73,000%. That's a 73x. Hopefully everyone watching the stream can use rational judgment and curb their urge to like gamble and FOMO, because there's always a universe where there's a coin like this will rip up higher. But you have to understand, in the first 45 minutes, we're on the 15-minute chart, or even the first hour, the supply was being bought up down here at like a 300K for whatever market cap. It's now exploded and everyone's finding out about it. It's at 20 million, up 73x. It doesn't make sense to be a buyer up here is the message I want to convey for the Let's Bonk coin. And 1 hour demand zone is going to be at 2.65 million to 2 million market cap. So, this one could likely have a pretty standard meme coin washout, Burj Khalifa, or at least a harsh pullback, because they typically do. And I could see it coming back down to, its support, which is going to be down here. quite lower. So just be careful out there, because we are seeing a lot of new coins just randomly launched out of nowhere. It also gets even better. So we have Ansem here talking about another new Solana meme coin that's just magically appeared. And this one's called House Coin. So essentially, I'm not going to read this, but the idea is this is some kind of real estate coin. He tries to justify, or he gives his thesis on it in this tweet. But this is another, top gainer on the day today. Right, this one's been around for around a month. It launched on March 24th, so about a month ago. And, for the first 6 days or so, it just wasn't traded at all at like a $3,000 market cap, and then it bumped right up to 5 million essentially when the insiders bought, basically. And as you can see, a huge explosion today in a tweet by Ansem. So guys, please use your best judgment right now and try to curb your urge to FOMO and gamble into plays like this, because if you got in early to them, great, but it's typically you'll be exit liquidity if you're buying a candle that looks like this, right? So stay safe out there, and use your discernment and best judgment, because we got the casino alive again, right? The urge to gamble and greed, it's all back, and this is what happened just today, right? The first week of the market turning green, and we have all of this. Quite interesting. But anyways, that's what's going on with meme coins again, right? This chart tells a story. This is what retail wants, and they want memes. Major outperformance. But while we're looking at sectors, let's go over some other sectors as well, and some promising sectors, because there's money to be picked up, in my opinion, on some of these underperforming sectors. The first main one is going to be AI. And Tau did hit a level over here at 375. As you can see, it looks like it's about to put in a daily SFP right at the daily 200 EMA. So yeah, this is definitely major resistance for Tau, and we are likely to see a pullback back into minimum Monday's range from here. But there is the chance it just wants to rip up with USDT dominance looking how it is. Something interesting though on 0x0, or OXO as I like to call it. I did go over this in a stream like 2 or 3 days ago, saying how every time it pumps, it always sweeps its lows, right? Here's all the examples of it. January 2024, over here August 2024, over here in November 2024, and now more recently, right here in April, just a few days ago, right? We swept the low, and now we're seeing a big move out of the low sweep. So if you're able to see the market maker patterns, right? This is pure pattern recognition. Just being able to see. Now, look, I've, as you guys know, I've been tracking OXO since 2023 now. I know how the coin moves. And that's an important thing to understand. If you're going to be trading crypto, you shouldn't be going after every coin under the sun. You should pick coins that you track and you know how they move. That gives you an edge to an extent, if you can actually execute on that. But anyways, OXO, right, it swept the low, and now it's at a 40% daily candle. So that one was given to you 3 days ago. Right here on the live streams, guys. If you appreciate the analysis, smash up the like button if you haven't smashed it just yet. Now, looking at these other AI coins, right? Tau's doing well. I mean, OXO is still a severe underperformer, but potentially, coming out of its bottom now. Other coins like Akash, right? A lot of these larger caps, Render, they've moved off of their bottoms. Fetch as well. They move off to their bottoms, but compared to where they've been, and even to their like higher time frames, such as their yearly open levels, there's definitely gains to be had, right? It's a 100% gain on FET to the yearly open at 127. Here's Cubic trying to close above this swing high now at 1900 per billion. ENQAI has always been an interesting coin to me. as a purely decentralized LLM. So it's at a $2 million market cap, and just looking at this thing's performance over the past 2 years, it's also traded in a pretty similar pattern. Where out of its bottoms, like even this bottom in September, it's still pumped up 560%. This was obviously the mega AI run over here in March 2024 when it pulled a 14x. But, this coin, the team is actually this is a legitimate project, in my opinion, at least. And it's so oversold, and it's at the bottom currently. So something like ENQAI, and we can use other examples of these micro cap AI coins. They really haven't moved too much off of their lows, and they're still so oversold, right? Something like TAI is up 220% from the bottom. But anyways, in terms of opportunity right now, these low cap AI projects are so beat up and they're so destroyed, right? AI Tech, AGI, they look the same, hitting their higher time frame demand levels. So if I was looking to say, get exposure if I had nothing right now, that's certainly somewhere I would look, because we know that AI is that next industrial revolution. And yes, it boomed last year in 2024. And there was a total reset of every AI coin. Cubic as just an example because the chart is open now, right? Every AI coin put in the same type of move where they all peaked out March 2024 over here. They all put in a pump over here in November, December, and then they all just got purged this year, 2025. So it was just a great reset for AI coins, and many of them are likely going to perform very well in the future. So that's somewhere I would be looking. The other two would be the narratives we discuss a lot. Gaming and real world asset coins. So gaming is the most underperforming sector of the market we have had this entire cycle long. Now here's gaming on the sector performance list towards the bottom over here. One of the worst performing sectors, and it's been the worst performing sector since the bear market bottom in 2022, 2023. Gaming coins did have a pump in late 2023, but that was it. So anyways, looking at the major gaming coins, they look like the major AI coins, where they're just starting to trend up. A lot of them haven't even cleared their previous swing high levels. So gaming is been at a huge discount for a long time now. And a lot of people have deployed capital into gaming coins, and they're just stuck holding their coins now because of the major sector underperformance. Myself included, I do hold some gaming coins myself. Now, because it's been such an underperforming sector, because it's been so weak and so disappointing with every gaming coin essentially, there likely will come a time where that sentiment of gaming is bad, I don't want to buy gaming coins, will flip to I need to own gaming coins. Why didn't I buy the bottom? These things are pumping so much, I got to buy them now. And then, that's typically how investors end up buying the top of a pump, right? Because they don't pay attention to it when it's at the gutter, at the floor, at the ground level, but they want to buy it after, the move has already happened. Like 70, 80% of the move is already done. And okay, they might go up slightly more, but it's actually the larger move to the downside coming. But we don't have that. We have the opposite. They're down so much, we have a slight move to the upside, but there's still like 90, 80% of the trend, in my opinion, still to come. All right. So gaming projects, certainly something to consider right now. If you hold none, or you bought some and then, your investment turned to dust because they're all down like 80% over the past 2 years. It doesn't matter which one you bought, right? Whether you bought one that I've talked about previously or some other YouTube channel or some other guy on Twitter or Alex Becker's picks, whatever. Yeah, they've all just been same as AI coins, great reset. So that's certainly somewhere I would look. There's obviously main plays still. Quality projects, things like Naka. Let's see. Something like Creo as well, which has seen just insane pumps in the past. I've never been a buyer of this coin, but just seeing how it's so floored out and so oversold, it does raise interest levels quite a bit. And something like Mavia as well. Mavia, a very popular gaming project, right? This is something I've looked into extensively. And the project itself, and look, like, if this looks like an inverse head and shoulders. Remember last stream yesterday I was talking about like a triple bottom or an inverse head and shoulders, how it's a reliable pattern on the higher time frames. Like, it's painted across so many of these gaming coins and like these AI coins that are still floored out at the bottom. This is somewhere to look. Or we can just, of course, go and chase the coin that Ansem or Bonk guy is shilling, but I don't want to do that, right? I don't want to do that. So I'm looking at the undervalued sectors that are, you know, still being overlooked, still being disregarded because they've just been such a bad underperformer for so long. But that's how markets work, and it will change. But while we're on the topic, let's go look at real world asset coins, because that's going to be another, you know, main narrative. Even though I don't think it's tracked here on this list. But real world asset, it's the same thing in the sense that, yes, they're starting to move, but they really haven't moved too much off of their lows. Chex was supposed to be the best one ever, and it did perform the best out of all the RWA coins from September to the top in December, January, right? It went up 10x. But again, complete reset of the board coming into higher time frame demand. Same thing where you have your bullish div, and you know, you have this structure where it looks like a bit of an inverse head and shoulders triple bottom on the higher time frames. Same thing with Rio, right? They all have the same structure bottomed out. So these are things that I'm looking at currently. SMT Swarm Markets, another one to consider is it's at the ground floor. Now this thing's market cap is, most of these RWA coins, their market caps are like gaming, where they're like 1 million or $2 million in market cap. Like this one's at 6 million. You know, Rio is back down to 15.4 million. So these things they're micro caps. They are micro caps. And in a world now, in the current state of the market where Bitcoin dominance is at 64.5%, and we know our macro target is going to be down here below 50%, right here at 46. Like, this is a long way to drop, and this is going to be like this altcoin season, when it does happen, we're looking at a 30% drop on dominance from this current point. If we go up and hit 66%, which I think we do, you know, we're looking at a 30% drop in dominance. These small RWA coins and gaming coins and things like that, they're going to see a big boost. But it's not going to happen tomorrow, so please understand that, right? We're talking, all these charts I just showed you were daily or weekly time frames. So they're going to take days to weeks to potentially months to play out. That's how higher time frames work when it comes to just looking at charts, right? Don't expect the move tomorrow if we're looking at a weekly price chart. But it is something that should be understood. Underperforming sectors will eventually turn into, you know, top performing sectors. I just see a comment real quick from Honest Lawn Care. He says, I never left, Connor. Spent the winter in Chiang Mai and back on the East Coast cutting lawns from Honest Lawn Care. That's cool, dude. You went to Chiang Mai for the winter. That's a great place. The best city in Thailand, in my opinion, up north. But yeah, glad to see you here. Anyways, let's go into the live chat and see what's going on. Shout out to Usman, Ashraf. We got Scott, Unicron. The Real Ape Fader says, can Mog coin 20x from here? So all these memes, green on the day. So from Mog coin to 20x, you're talking a $5 billion market cap. Now, I don't remember what Murad's target was for Mog. It was probably like 50 billion, not 5 billion. But can Mog 20x from here? I'm going to say my initial answer is no, it can't. I don't think enough retail demand for Mog coin will come about to push this thing 20x. Can it pump up back to these highs? Can it make a new all-time high and do a 10x to 2.5 billion? Potentially. But I would not be holding Mog for a 20x. And that, like, because if you have your mind set on the 20x and you get a 10x, it's very easy to let the greed consume your decision making and you just want to hold it. And then it ends up doing a full move back to the lows, and you know, you're back to square one. But then you have the emotional damage of, you know, seeing those paper gains turn to nothing. So I wouldn't approach Mog with a philosophy that it's going to 20x. When you look at his performance as well, you know, it's gone up. It has done 120x in the past in a period of about a year. So it's already had quite a stellar run. And many of these coins, you know, especially meme coins, there's going to be some event into the future after this cycle, of course, but there's going to be some event in the future to get rid of all, because it's all trash basically, like floating at the top of the ocean. There needs to be some kind of trash removal service. You know how they clean up oceans? They have those big machinery, like gather up all the garbage in the ocean. That's what meme coins are essentially. So there probably will come a point that happens, but that's into the future, of course, well into the future right now. Shout out to Guts Motors. DC says, I look like a famous Italian singer. Well, I am half Italian, so he could be a distant relative, maybe. I don't know. Potentially, you never know. And Sam Fox says, is it good to buy Doge and H-bar right now? So Doge hit 13 cents, right? And now it's currently at 18.2 cents. Is it good to buy them now? Well, we can look at looking at this, it's at resistance, right? It's stalling a bit. And if we lower the time frames, right, we do have a lower time frame range here. And with that, we of course have Bitcoin up here at resistance at 95K, with the daily closure coming in 15 minutes, and it's going to close in a SFP. So my answer of if you should buy now, of course you need to make your own decision. But would I buy it right now? No, I wouldn't. I would not buy it right now. It also, you know, it did how many sweeps of these highs? So if I really, really, really wanted to buy it, I would at least be waiting now. I would at least be waiting for a move back down to your support level. And your closest one, sure, we can draw one here, right? There's one over here at 18 cents. But really looking at this range on the 4 hour, You have an untested demand zone that just formed, right? A drop base rally. It's just sticking out like a sore thumb here at 17.3 to 16.9 cents. So like if I really wanted to buy it, bare minimum, I'd be waiting for this level, this demand zone on the 4-hour. Sticks out. You can't miss it if you look at it on your own chart. We just had a super chat come in from Crypto LTP5. He says, just for fun, won't hold you to it. What are your price targets for Bitcoin, ETH, Cubic, Rio? As always, you're the man. Hope you're doing well, brother. Well, thank you for the super chat and thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. So targets for Bitcoin. I'm going to say 125K is my target, right? That was you guys remember I had the magnet at 125K. Never came to fruition, but that's still the level I am looking for. ETH, hard to say for a top, right? This is actually interesting. This is related to our super chat. So today, or not today, but 2 days ago, Charles Hoskinson's, according to Block News, he says that Ethereum won't survive more than 10 years, and he compares it to MySpace and BlackBerry, right? So all these major crypto media firms are putting out the message that, Ethereum is going to die, and it's not going to do anything ever, and it's just going to become like BlackBerry and fade away into obscurity. And there is a universe where this does happen, but I think for Ethereum, we will see a move back up here to the all-time high, and I do think it will make a new all-time high. All right, the 12K targets, 10K targets, I'm not sure they're on the table right now, but 5K, I would say that has a good chance of happening, coming up and testing the all-time high from 2021. And potentially higher because we can take a fib, right? And look at where the 618 ends up. The negative 618 ends up at 7. Let's make sure this is at the top. $7,333. So yeah, this is the target for ETH in this range from the previous all-time high to the 618 fib extension. And then it's tough to say for an AI coin like Cubic because I don't think I'm wrong about Cubic. I think I was extremely early. It did perform well, when the AI bubble happened in 2024. Like some of the targets floated around Cubic don't make any sense. I agree with that, right? Some of the targets are just kind of insane moon math. But I could see it making a new all-time high. Because again, like I was saying before, looking at the sector performances, AI is it's changing the world in real time right now, and it's the industrial revolution, right? There's a theory that the trade war with China is simply to just stop their AI advancement with the tariffs, right? There's basically an invisible arms race with AI going on. And you remember when DeepSeek just crashed the entire stock market a few weeks ago when China released DeepSeek? Like, there is a possibility that the entire tariff war is just to limit China's AI advancement. So AI is very important. And if Cubic is actually building what they say they are, which I think they are, we could see this do quite well. And I wouldn't be surprised to see it go to a few billion market cap. And the previous all-time high was at 1 billion at 12K per billion cubic units. But yeah, I mean, I am quite bullish on AI into the future. I think there is probably the generational trade, right? Like Because remember, the last industrial revolution was like the railroads. And if you bought the railroad stock when they were first being built in like the 1910s or whatever, you got rich, first of all, if you managed to keep the profits from the trade. But, you know, the next mega crazy opportunity really that came along was the internet. And that happened, 100 years later at the turn of the century, right? Now we have AI, right? So these trades of a lifetime of new tech advancements, they only come along like every few decades, or, you know, in some cases like every half a decade or every century. They're quite few and far between. So AI is the trade of our current lifetime, right? If you're a young lad like myself. So that's why I'm just looking into the future at AI, and that's what I see. But anyways, the last part of the question, Rio, it's really hard to say a price prediction for this one, but the number I've floated around has been $10 to $12, and I'm going to stick with that. With its market cap, it could hit. But anyways, I appreciate that super chat. Shout out to the Silvadala. He's saying smash the like button, and Boda May the 4th Lightspeed engage. So that's right around the corner now, May the 4th. And I mean, look, this thing is just stabled out now, right? It's found a nice range at like a 500K market cap. Yeah, this looks ready for a next leg. Based IOTA. I mean, crazy high risks. Don't get it mistaken, but I'd rather go into something like this than Ansem's house coin personally. Yeah, look at this consolidation. We'll see if it leads to a breakout. Max Payne is higher, so I could definitely see that. And other base coins as well, like Miggles performing 33. Keycat's at 31. So like if you're looking for a 10x, for example, right? If you're looking for a 10x, if you buy Miggles or Keycat, you need them to go to a $30 or $35 million market cap to a $300 million market cap, which of course is very possible. But then you compare it to something like Boda, which we know has just been around for as long as these other meme coins on base, like Keycat, for example. It's been around for over a year now. Like the Telegram group, even when the price was at the absolute gutter, it was still active with people. Like, it's insane how the people in the Boda community are. The fact that they've never left. So yeah, if you want a 10x, like to go to 5.6 million is very much more possible in my opinion than seeing Keycat or Miggles go to 350 million. So just some math off the top of the head, but to me that's logical. And then Toshi putting in a nice rounded bottom. The big one on base. Went from $1 billion to 178 million. It was sub 100 million at the bottom, the lows. But the rises and falls of meme coins are here to stay, right? The market has decided that meme coins are the most in-demand assets in crypto. So don't hate it, don't date it, just trade it, really. Joseph says, what's your prediction on Donkey King and Muscat? I don't have predictions on those. I've never heard of them. Scott says, cup and handle pattern on Alchemy. ACH Alchemy? Bit of a local cup and handle. So cup and handles tend to work. This could be valid, yeah. All right, a little bit of this going on. But these do tend to work best out of bottom reversals. And this is a bottom reversal. So, yeah, this very well could actually be quite valid. All right, a bit of a fake out there on the 18th and 19th of April. However, price quickly reclaimed this channel, and whether you call it a cup and handle, the handle of a cup and handle is always going to look like a bull flag, right? And we have that, so I do see it. And yeah, this one very well could end up in a violent breakout higher. The lower time frames have just been very sideways in this channel, right? Price is just consolidating. Maybe you get something around 2.5 cents if it wants to continue to hold this current channel it's in, right? If price is going to continue to respect the channel, of course it may just break out, but if you do see it come back down to its channel bottom, there is price left behind an inefficiency with this big spike up. So this is demand down here. This is demand, and it's also at the bottom of the channel. So yeah, it looks valid to me. And here's the weekly chart of ACH. And if history repeats, it bottoms, it pumps, comes down, it bottoms, it pumps. Now it just came down, so it could be a quicker bottom this time. This time could be different, right? But yeah, if history is going to repeat, it's going to see another move out of this. And even if you just go to the resistance up here at 4 cents, you're still talking about a gain of over 50%, or 42%, sorry. But yeah, I see that one, Scott. The Real Ape Fader says H-bar market cap to high at my 4x. So H-bar, it's just like XRP. They're pretty much synonymous with one another to me. In the sense that they, as an example, let's see the date when this peaked out. 16th. And then this peaked out on the 17th, sweeping the highs. But yeah, these things, H-bar and XRP move at the same exact time in identical fashions. Let's see, December 2nd there, and December 2nd here is one day before the top. So yeah, look, these coins move very identically to one another. And remember, whenever XRP pumps, it always does mark the top of the cycle. So now we can say whenever H-bar pumps, it's going to mark the top of the cycle, basically. Some may dismiss that, but there is a lesson in there. Now anyways, 4x to the top, when the market cap has been as high as, here we go. So here's a story about token inflation, right? The market cap hit a high of 14 billion, and the price went to a high of 40 cents. In 2021, the market cap hit a high of 7 billion, and the price went to 57 cents, 56.9 cents. So that's what token inflation is. The market cap will increase drastically, but the price won't go as high when it pumps because there's so many more tokens in circulation. So with the market cap potentially going to continue to increase, that may not even equate to new all-time highs. Just important to understand that. But I do still see H-bar performing, but I would just be careful about moon numbers is all. And let's see, Random19 says, what is a realistic market cap for treble this year? So given that the current market cap is now 1 million, and we can look at other, real quick, let's just look at the DeFi landscape on base. Because, right, if we're going to do price predictions and things like that, we need comps, right? Just like when you go to value a house, you don't just pull a number out of thin air. You look at what other houses in the area have sold for, and those are your comparables to get a value on the current home you're looking at. All right, so we can use comparables as well for other DeFi projects on base. So for DEXs, there's Aerodrome, there's Uniswap. Something like ALB, which I personally think treble blows out of the water, is at an 11 mil market cap, and it's been as high as 100 million, 97 million. So it is a lot to think about in the sense where, you know, it's competition that it's better than is 10x higher, and it's been 100x higher. But those are our comparables. So if we're going to use those comparables, we are looking at a 520100x. Even to just, you know, get on where it should be, right, on the same playing field as some of the others, you're looking at a 10x to 10 million. So yeah, again, like, I understand what's up with treble, and I see between the lines, and I think it's severely undervalued, like I've been saying. So I don't want to get too moon boy, but a lot higher is my prediction. A lot higher. Guys, smash up that like button. Let's get those likes up. But anyways, Vikey Odin says, thoughts on ETH needing to pump for alt season to happen? Agreed. I think that needs to happen, yes. Of course, ETH versus the US dollar, we want to see start to move. But more importantly, we want to see Ethereum start to outperform Bitcoin. Because when Ethereum outperforms Bitcoin, that usually means all the other altcoins are going to outperform Bitcoin as well. And that's what altcoin season is, right? When altcoins outperform Bitcoin. And we are in a level now for ETH BTC over here at 1.8 million sats. Below, there's the demand zone from 2017 at 1.3 million sats to 730K sats. So yes, to answer the question, I do agree that we need ETH to pump. And more importantly, or more specifically, I should say, we need ETH to outperform Bitcoin. And it's been on a free fall for years, but it looks like it wants to come into either the bottom zone or, you know, potentially hold these lows, but likely going to come into our bottom zone. You know, when this gets hit, when it takes this liquidity, that will be the fuel for it to put in a massive rally. So that's what we're looking for in ETH BTC. And this is also a signal for altcoin season. Definitely very important to monitor, to keep an eye on. It's in the same category of importance as Bitcoin dominance dropping as well. So quite important, quite important. Crypto Engineer says, thanks for helping us. No worries. Appreciate the support, guys. Shout out to Adrian Kent with the 2 thumbs up. D Fox says, hi Connor, thoughts on Newt on Abstract? So Newt on Abstract. So you guys, I'm sure you know Daniel McAvoy, right? He's been on my channel before, but he is bullish on Newt, and he made a full video on it on his channel, you know, explaining his whole reasoning on why he thinks this is going to be like the next big meme coin. So with that being said, Dan's a smart guy. That's his reasoning. And the thing is with if abstract coins, they're not doing so hot right now because it's such an isolated environment, and you're not really, it's basically like an isolated island where everyone's trying to capture the same resources and gather the same resources. There's no new resources coming into the island, or in this case, the abstract chain, right? The abstract chain is the island, and everyone's trying to gather the same resources or, make money and make gains off of the same meme coins in the ecosystem. So of course, that just means either it's super early to abstract right now, and you will see new people come with more resources such as dollar bills, capital to buy these coins, and the people already holding them will of course see their value increase and they can take profit from that. So that's the overall thing now, right? Is abstract just super early, or is it one that's just never going to catch on? I think it definitely has the possibility to catch on, and if it does, Newt probably will do really well. As with everything in markets, there's always the inverse of that happening. Many scenarios can take place where that doesn't happen. But in general, yes, I think that Newt is a high risk play that can return potentially just insane rewards. Now, just looking at the chart here, every time price had a large spike up, it left behind a fair value gap, and every time that fair value gap got closed, right, price came in and retested it. Here's one, right, big move, price comes in and even hit the order block in it at the bottom down here. Let's see, another example would be this here, right, big move, price comes back in, touches the fair value gap, drops further back here into another created fair value gap. So this thing, is someone market making this coin, or is this organic price action? Because this is interesting. But yeah, so this is an untested one over here at 3.7 to 5.6 million. Now the problem is, or not really the problem, but just the reality of the situation is that many of Dan's community members, in his private group, they're the largest holders of this coin. So if they want to sell it, I think they likely do it, or the team is the largest holder after or before those guys, but it would need a lot of selling to get back down here, from holders. And they may. So if you see it down here at 5.5 to 2.6 million in market cap, for simplicity, let's say like 5 million, that is the buy zone on the chart for Newt. Because again, I just showed you how every fair value gap's been filled. This hasn't down here. So this is the logical place to look for. But yeah, there's other ones like Appster, for example. Of course, Pengu, which is the airdrop, the Pudgy Penguins airdrop. Which is, so airdrop coins, after they bottom out from all the airdrop selling, they can go on mega rallies. So it looks like this one can potentially gear up for one if it can clear the previous swing high over here. But yeah, anyways, that's abstract in a nutshell for anyone wondering what's going on with abstract and some of the popular coins like Newt on it. Luca Net's blockchain, the founder of Pudgy Penguins. I mean, look, the guy got I don't know how much money he got in funding, but he raised a lot of venture capitalist money. So he has a lot of funding. And with that, he can pay for a lot of marketing and make a lot of things happen to get users on the abstract chain. And that's Dan's whole thesis, basically, right? So It makes sense. But if we're going to do analysis and try and find a value area, it's down at 5 million. I hope that helps. Those are my thoughts on Newt on abstract. So Crypto Mike says that's when we know we're due for a pullback, probably referencing the meme chart outperformance here. And it's 8:12. I can't even keep track of the time when I'm live because it just goes. But the daily close is in. And we closed in an SFP. All right, so we took the high, but we closed underneath it with bearish divergence. Like I said, order flow earlier showed just so many people trying to short. But as of right now, you know, the chart itself, just looking at the plain chart, it is giving a short trigger. So from here, we very well could end up trading back down to, again, the level to look for the pullback is the previous range low over here. And that's in the high $88,000 to $89,000 right here. But max pain is higher and the target for the rally is up here, 100K. So let's see. Let's try to find where we're at in the chat right now. And Scott is asking for virtuals. So virtuals, AI agents in general, they all are starting to percolate back up. This is up 124% from its bottom on April 7th. Which is when the buy program did start. Or the uptrend, the bottom, whatever word you want to use. Closed above the previous swing high. So yeah, virtual is looking quite good right now. And it is reacting to this level over here. As you can see on the daily. All right, it's reacting to this previous support. Now turned into resistance. And the fact that I marked this out in the daily 200 EMA is just here. It looks like it wants higher for now, right? Just like I was looking at a few coins yesterday. I think Topi asked me about them, and it wasn't clear that it was time to, try and short them. And this is why, right? It spiked up higher today. But yeah, virtual is, it's dangerous. It looks like it wants to continue higher, so I wouldn't be too eager to try and fade this rally right now. And with that, we want to look for pullbacks and levels of interest. This got used super well. This continuation play at 67 cents. So there's fresh demand right at the golden pocket at the current high at 70 cents. Again, if Bitcoin wants to reverse and follow through on that swing failure pattern, you know, we're going to see alts pull back too. But again, being that we're in a new uptrend, the trend is now our friend and it's up. So I would rather look to buy the dip than try and get in the way of the strength of the river, of the current. And yeah, that is, I'm sure if we drop the time frames, yeah, okay. So at the 50% too, at 75 cents, there's a level. So, you know, we're looking at potentially 16, 17, maybe even 20% lower on a dip. And when that big red day does come, because it will come, and you see it down 16% or whatever, and you see it at 75 cents, or maybe it hits the golden pocket at 71, if you want to ride the trend, that is the logical place to look for an entry. Let's see. Someone says I kind of look like Lucas Tracy MMA. I don't know who that is, but I can find out. Oh, this dude. I just know MMA guru. No, but yeah, I guess so. Remita says, thank you for treble. I learned so much from your live and videos. I appreciate it. You're the man. No worries. I thank you for the support. And Emery Perez, render is not easy to understand. Render price action is wacky. It is now showing reasons to be very cautious about buying up here. Higher time frame resistance, multiple, you know, sweeps, Monday high sweep, and now you have today's daily candle closing under this trend line that's I got off of the 4 hour. This is a short. Like, if it wants to troll, why do I say it's a short, right? Monday high sweep, break the 4 hour trend line, retest the 4 hour trend line. Now it's basically just in consolidation. So if they want to troll, they're going to spike it up. Maybe like 10% higher than the high, or 5 to 10% higher than the high is what I typically see. And then it'll nuke. Or it just nukes from here. But this has a short written all over it actually right now. More clear than anything that I've actually looked at, and maybe that's just because I already had the trend line up and I see it break and retest in a bearish manner. But also the fact that price has not tested the Monday low all of this week. Yeah, this has got a short written all over it actually. So I would definitely be weary about trying to FOMO into render at the current price with those factors I just discussed. Shout out to Manny Adachi. He says, what's up, Crypto Empire gang? Hit the likes. Classes in session. Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for the support. And MG says, just join. Can we expect the prices to dip anytime soon, or will they only climb from here? Thinking about adding or keeping some money for any dips. So yeah, hopefully you're able to discern from the stream today that, you know, we are at higher time frame resistance on Bitcoin and alts. Bitcoin just closed the daily SFP, which is bearish in this case, right? Because it swept the high at 95K and closed underneath it on the daily. So I would say to hold back the FOMO right now. But if things just pump up, well, if you come back tomorrow and say, you told me to hold out, that's what I think, right? So that's just what I'm seeing. I could definitely not be right here, but it doesn't look like a logical place to just start FOMO buying stuff, right? We got the weekend tomorrow, right? What if altcoins drop 10, 20% tomorrow on Saturday or Sunday and you bought today? Just something to think about. And the charts are telling us that we got to be weary of a pullback. Let's see. Kylo the dog says he's excited for Atlantis. They doing great. They are. And I mean, if you go look at the testnet tokens, like find a better performer than this, even though it's on testnet still. We'll see what happens on the mainnet, but I mean, dude, a lot of interest right now in the project. So it looks like it's doing well, like you said, Kylo. Let's see. People asking about AI agent coins. All of them, like Moby Vader, Virtual AI16Z, and Griffin. Mark says, do you still believe in Griffin? So AI agents currently are, I don't think it's a passing trend in the sense where like AI agents in general, but there was just so much froth in AI agents earlier in the year that, you know, it was very unsustainable. And with that, we saw coins like Griffin drop 90% plus. I guess it's not included here on this list. But yeah, anyways, they all are up double-digit percents on the week. And, you know, a few of them are up 12, 15% on the day. Now, do I still believe in Griffin? Yeah, I think it will go back up in price. The issue is we're not going to have, there's a very slim chance that we'll have the type of greed and just feeding frenzy we had for AI agents, right? It was at the forefront of everyone's mind. All anyone was talking about in the crypto world 5 months ago was AI agents. Does that happen again? It usually doesn't, right? Usually huge narratives. For example, gaming in 2021, things like that, right? They have a big boom and then they will have bubbles after, but typically like they don't surpass that the first time they exploded. So with Griffin, yes, I think it will likely be coming back up here to these levels around 20 cents. Right, these are the targets right now from these lows up here in this zone. So I'm not going to say I don't believe in it. I think it will go up in price, but will it be able to do what it's done in the past? I think not, simply because of and this goes with all AI agents. They had a bubble and the bubble bursted. It will never be that crazy again for AI agents. So that's important to keep in mind. But they can definitely come back up in price and, you know, come into these supply levels that formed, which are significantly higher than the current market price, right? Hundreds of percent higher. So let's see, Vikey asking about desync and Palm, some Becker plays. I've never really been too interested in the Becker AI plays, except for OXO, which I was actually interested in, you know, before he publicly shared he was getting paid to talk about it. So in general, though, I did go over AI earlier in the stream in the sense that they're all like bottomed at the floor, and looking at desync now, it's the same. It's bottomed out at the floor. So, you know, if you want to add them, they are bottomed out at the floor. And then shout out to Ghost tuning in, asking for a short-term level for a pullback on Cubic. So we do have a fresh level of demand at 1,300 to 1,200 per billion cubic units. And that's at your 78.6 of this swing high to swing low into the absolute low. That's directly at your 50% equilibrium point. So this is your short-term level for a pullback, which is at 1,300 per billion. But anyways, guys, it's Friday night. Hope you're all feeling all right. It's time to wrap this bad boy up. If you haven't already, guys, smash up the like button. If you enjoy the streams and for some reason you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below, and let's get the Crypto Empire YouTube channel to 100,000 subscribers this year. Let's make it happen. Tell your friends, tell your family, get them to subscribe. And it also helps if you watch the videos and you like them, right? YouTube really cares about watch time. So do your boy a solid and be sure to watch all of my videos from start to finish. It goes a super long way for me, all the work I put into making the videos. So, you know, I would appreciate if you guys did that. It's free. It only costs your time. And hopefully you get value out of them. So with that being said, hit the like, hit the subscribe if you're not subscribed. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great night. Connor from Crypto Empire signing out. Talk to you soon.